Hi, I'm going to be talking through the basics of lesson planning. I'm going to be using the ACE template, but the ideas are the same in whichever templates that you end up using long term in your career. I'm going to start by talking through the course cover page, and then the unit cover page, and then get to the nuts and bolts of how to actually get a lesson for a day down on the page. Let's start with the course cover page. Here I'm planning a physical science lesson on lenses today. At the top here, I have all my course outcomes. I have six basic main ideas that I want these students to be able to do when they leave. Any unit goals should be based on these course outcomes. Any particular lesson plan that you do should be with the end of hitting these course outcomes. When they leave the class, they should be able to do these six things. Moving down the page, I have my different units here. Basics of motion, forces cause motion with their unit goals and rationales, all the SWIBOTs and the assessments. I like to put this little Bloom's taxonomy chart on here to help remind me when I'm writing all my lesson plans, so I think that may be a good idea to embed in your unit plan. Moving on down, we've got some more of my units: projectile motion, working machines, and notice that they all have rationales, and they also have the standards that you're supposed to be following for that unit. Let's go over to Unit 6, that's where I'm going to be today, in waves and light. Students will be able to analyze the behavior of waves and how light behaves as a wave. So I'm at the Analyze Bloom level, so that will be more where my lesson plan is today. So let's click on the 6, go over to Unit 6. Here is my waves and light unit cover page. You'll notice I have all the unit goal, unit rationale, and the assessment already written on the top. I've been teaching this unit for a little while. We're about to have a performance assessment. So we're going to go down to the bottom of the lesson plans. But you can see all my SWIBOTs here. I start at sort of a lower Bloom's level as an introduction at the apply level, and then up it to analyze as we go further along, making sure my traditional test is at the level of the unit goal. Moving further down, I have my extending and refining lessons. I'm using knowledge meaningfully. So today I'm going to be talking about one of these extending and refining lessons. We've already thoroughly talked through the physics of mirrors, and we're going to be now applying all those lessons and analyzing how lenses behave. This works for any content, whether it's science, English, history. Make sure that your lessons are always trying to hit these goals. So my lesson must be SWIBOT, analyze the behavior of waves and how light behaves as a wave. My particular lesson that I'm going to be planning today is SWIBOT, analyze the refraction of waves through lenses. So when light goes through a wave and it gets bent because it's gone through a different medium. I've made sure, especially now later in my unit, that I'm at the unit goal Bloom's verb analyze. So let's go to lesson plan 9. A nice blank template here. I've got a 2-day lesson plan here. You can see a little 2. I'm going to start off with day 1, and that's what I'm going to be planning right now. Day 1. I think it's a great idea to always start off with a bell work. So I'm going to mark BW. As soon as the students walk in, I'll engage them and get them in the right mindset for what we're doing for the day. So let me think. I want to engage some prior knowledge here. What do they already know about lenses? So I'm probably going to have them make a little list for me. So I'm going to say, write, let's say 4 facts that you already know. Oops, sorry for my typing. That you already know about lenses. And let's change that to facts or examples. Usually, sometimes students may get a little freaked out if they're not used to the topic. So maybe facts or examples, because maybe they'll just say, I don't know anything. At least they can come up with some examples. So that's my, that'll be my first 5 minutes of class. At least you can come up with some examples of that. All right, I want to get them up and moving and talking to each other as quickly as I can. During my lesson plans, I try to have as many people in the class actively doing something as I can. I think that cooperative learning is a super, super helpful way to engage every single student in the class. As long as everybody is doing something, I think that's the best way to go about starting a class period. Get them up, standing, moving, talking to each other, and engage that prior knowledge. So I'm going to do what's called a Kagan structure. This is one of a lot of cooperative learning structures that are out there in the world. Let me see where. Here's an example of the Kagan learning structures online, and they have tons and tons and tons of cooperative learning strategies. So I recommend you check out these people, Kagan online.com. So I'm going to start out with the Kagan structure, a stand-up, hand-up, pair-up. Stand-up, hand-up, pair-up. Get them out of their seats. They're going to be talking to each other. So stand-up, hand-up, pair-up. They're all going to stand up, walk around the room, find a partner. And once they're with their partner, I'm going to have them compile their lists. Compile your lists in a rally pair. And a rally pair is where one person says something, the other person says something, then the first person, the second person, the first person, second person. This is a procedure that I would have practiced many, many times before this. So all I have to do is say rally pair. They automatically know what I'm talking about. First person will talk, second person will talk. And they'll compile their two lists together. I think that would be a good way to start it. So if one person didn't think of an example, somebody else did, we'll share them. Let's try this 3 times, let's say. So we get lots of different examples, and everybody ideally has talked to 3 different people, get a lot of different ideas and opinions out there. So by the end of this, they should have a nice long list. I expect that would take about 10 minutes, practically speaking, maybe a little less than that, but we're going to go 10 minutes for that one. Now what I think I'm going to have them do is they're already up, they're already talking. I'm probably going to go with a chalk talk here, where everybody in the class goes up to the board and writes some of their examples up on the board. So after everybody does this, we'll have a nice long list of everybody's ideas in the entire classroom. And that way I can kind of cherry pick which ones that I want to discuss further. But we will, all of their ideas will be up there, and I can go choose which ones I want to go further into. So chalk talk on that information, above information, and then maybe a 5-minute little discussion of the chalk talk that I will facilitate. So discussion of chalk talk. Over on the teacher method activity, I'm going to put teacher facilitated discussion. Now my writing in here may be a little bare bones, but keep in mind this is just for time's sake. But your lesson plan should be written thoroughly enough that any substitute teacher can be handed these lesson plans and know exactly what to do with them. So make sure that they're written very clearly. I'm writing a little shorthand just so we have enough time to get through this. So a little discussion of the chalk talk. So we've engaged prior knowledge here, and I think this is about a good time. It's about 20 minutes in the classroom. I'm going to do a little bit of direct instruction so we can get the practical, how do you draw the drawings, how do you do the algebra. It's a little bit of direct instruction on lenses. We've already thoroughly covered mirrors, so it shouldn't take too long. I may do about 10 minutes of direct instruction on lenses. Let me show you my example of how I do direct instruction here. So I have a long PowerPoint presentation that I've made. I'm going to go over to my beginning. So my direct instruction is not just lecturing. I always try to have embedded videos of practical, applicable, culturally relevant, relevant to high school examples to begin with. So I have a little example here from Toy Story. Then always in my direct instruction, I intentionally put in questions that they have to answer. You can always gauge your talk moves here. If they're not answering them, you could say, okay, here's how is Sid able to burn a hole in Woody's head. Okay, turn to your partner. I'll give you next 30 seconds to discuss it. Then we'll discuss it as a class. So these little questions embedded are good opportunities for talk moves and to get them to discuss them with each other. So direct instruction does not necessarily mean you're talking the whole time. It just means that you're leading the class discussion. A couple examples of lenses, practical things. application of this, and I might bring up who has glasses, and again keep the students talking as I directly instruct them. Then step by step how to go through the drawings. I'd spend the next little while showing them that. In my direct instruction, I also embed practice questions. So here's some, I hope, practical, relevant questions that I can ask them. So under my direct instruction on lenses, I will probably spend the next 10 minutes doing those 3 practice problems, the Beyonce, the superheroes one. So I will put maybe partner work or pair, just gauging on how the class is going. You may always have to adjust, so stay on your toes there. So partner work on last 3 questions in PowerPoint. When they're doing partner work, I will, of course, be going around the room and answering any questions and proposing new questions that they have not thought of. So propose new questions, especially the people at the higher end. And I think we got about 10 minutes left in class. I'm going to give them a little homework tonight. So we're going to begin with, it's a long homework assignment. So I'm going to give the next 10 minutes to begin our homework assignment, just to make sure that there are no questions. End of class might also be a good opportunity for an exit card, a little informal formative assessment here at the end of class. But I think I'm going to have them, for this day, begin on the homework so I can answer any questions that they may have. As I go through, here's a little example of a homework I might give. Let's see. I think this will probably be the one I give. So this is a lens drawing on the top and in the middle, but I've also thrown in a little bit of information from the last lesson plan that I had on mirrors that you can see right here. So not only do I have the new information, I also have old information on each of my homework assignments. So that's day 1. I'd also write day 2 and do something similar. So again, talking through my lesson plan here, it's a little bare bones the way I've written it for time's sake. It should be thorough enough that a stranger can come in and teach your class. So I would probably extend out my teacher method and activity and add a little differentiation for my particular students. For day 2, start with the bell work, get them engaged. Make sure that during your lesson plans, you have as many people engaged as possible at any given moment. So when you look out at your classroom, there should not only be 1 or 2 people engaged. You should have as many people doing things as you possibly can. And try to structure your lesson plans with the cooperative learning strategies or other things like that that engage as many people as possible when the class is going on. So you're not the sage on the stage. You are having everybody actively learning. Thanks very much.